The story that you are about to hear is a compilation of tales showcasing different cultures or beliefs that is unique from our perspective. Please sit back and enjoy the tales I am about to tell you. An 11-mile stretch of Riverdale Road that connects Brighton and Thornton is home to urban legends of hauntings and phantom joggers. It may seem like your typical city street. It is anything but, as the road, which is literally named the Gates of Hell, has many morbid legends surrounding its paved twists and turns. The earliest rumors are of a nearby Native American burial ground which places curses on trespassers and of entities taking animal form along the road. Supposedly, there are both good and evil forces at work here. Take caution if you see a gray fox, as that is the manifestation of an evil spirit. But if instead you see a coyote, it means there is a good entity watching over you. On the north end of the road, not far from Highway 7, there once stood a large home. One day, the owner of the house was possessed by a demon and he burned it to the ground with his family still inside. The family perished in the fire and the man was never seen again. The house had large iron gates out front, which locals have taken to calling the Gates of Hell. Witnesses report that a lady in white walks the road by the gates. Assumed to be the wife, she searches the street for her murdered children or even her husband. She is mostly seen by visitors who looks at their rearview mirror as they drive by the road. There was a jogger who got hit on the Riverdale Road. It is said that the jogger haunts the road. People walking through have heard a loud heartbeat and even footsteps. Sometimes when driving by, you may feel as if you hit someone, but upon stopping to investigate, there isn't really anyone there, except maybe the angry ghost of a dead jogger. Legend says, don't let him get to the driver's side window or you'll die. It is rumored that an entire community of Satanists once lived in the area and performed rituals in a field on the side of the road. An old dairy on Riverdale is also said to be home to a tree which was used to hang women accused of witchcraft. Street signs on Riverdale Road are sometimes found to be covered in dried blood and small handprints. By morning, the blood and the prints are always gone. This is thought to be the work of a ghost who, while alive, was a young boy that walked the road on his way to school. Sadly, the boy was killed while on his daily commute, and now his spirit seems to be stuck there. America has a long and dark history of abusing slaves while it was legal to own them, and slaves used to live along Riverdale Road. It is said that on some nights, you can see their bodies hanging from the cottonwood trees if there's a full moon out. The issue with Riverdale Road that led to its haunted history is that it has seemingly endless blind corners. If a driver is in a rush, those blind corners can result in death. One driver in the 70s was zipping down the road, impatiently testing fate with their gas pedal, when they had a fatal crash. Now, if you drive down the street during the night or day, a phantom Camaro might pull up behind you, challenging you to a race with no happy ending. There's also a ghostly hitchhiker there. It is said there is a young woman in white who walks Riverdale Road at night, and if you pull over to give her a ride, she disappears as soon as you open the passenger door. Whether or not Riverdale Road is indeed haunted is up for debate. But one thing is for sure, there is something spooky happening in Thornton. In the 1800s, the gold rush brought as much misfortune of illness and death to fortune seekers as riches did. Many gold seekers fell victim to diseases, accidental death, and extreme disappointments in return for their sacrifice. This ghost story turns from disappointment to darkness and has managed to put Luana's Canyon, more commonly known as Slaughterhouse Canyon, on the map of paranormal travels. Luana's Canyon is situated just southeast of Kingman. Legend has it that during the 1800s, a family lived in the canyon in a small wooden shack in the bottoms of Slaughterhouse Canyon. The husband was a dreamer and wanted nothing more than to provide a better life for his wife Luana and their children. He would venture off into the mountains in search of gold and food for his family. The only food that the small family had to eat was what the man would bring home from his gold hunting expeditions. The man would leave and would not return for 2 weeks at a time. He always returned and his family always ate. But all good things come to an end. One day, the husband kissed his family goodbye and rode off on the back of a mule to once again provide for his family. Unfortunately, it would be the last time that his family would see him. Apparently, the man had become another victim of gold rush tragedy. His wife waited for her husband for many days after his expected return and soon realized that something was terribly wrong. The food started to dwindle until there was none left. The mother and her children soon began to starve. Without food and without her husband, Luana began to slip into madness. Her children became pale and weak. They were constantly begging for food, but the mother had none to give. Each day that passed pushed the mother closer toward the brink of insanity until she eventually snapped. Unable to bear to continue to hear her children's pitiful whimpers for food, she murdered them and cut them into small pieces. It is also said that she took the time to put on her white wedding gown before the horrific act. When the mother had finished this horrible deed, her white wedding gown and the walls of the tiny wooden shack were painted with the blood of her children. The woman then carried what was left of her children down to the edge of the river and tossed them in. She collapsed in a blood-soaked heap and began to wail loudly for her children. She was overcome with sadness and guilt. She remained on the riverbank and continued to scream and wail until the next morning when she would succumb to starvation herself. She died crying for the children that she had murdered but were doomed to die anyway. Many claim that the wails can still be heard within the canyon. Visitors to Slaughterhouse Canyon have reported feeling the anguish that still lingers in the air. And on evenings and nights when the air is still and thick, it's reported that you can hear the screams of the kids and of the mother as she made a tragic decision to end their suffering. Hey everyone! I just wanted to express how grateful I am that you took the time to listen to my narration. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am Twisted Mind and please enjoy the rest of your day. Salamat!